There is Derrick James, and we got him live in the flesh. Derrick, how are you, my man?
Hey, I'm doing good. We're doing corona testing. That's what it was. They pulled me away for that.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Well, Derrick, first of all, how are you and your family doing? Is everyone okay and safe down in Dallas?
Yeah, everybody's good, man. We're doing good. Just working. We're at the gym right now. Everybody's doing the test, so I had to get everything because I'm running the whole camp, so I had to get everything together. Sorry about that.
No worries, Derrick, and it's great to talk with you. Derrick, how excited are you and Errol for 10 days from now as you guys get ready, as Errol puts his welterweight titles on the line against Danny Garcia?
Well, man, I can't wait. I think that this has been a long journey, a long ride, not to mention a long journey of 11 years, but to come back for the fight. So it's like very beautiful to even think about it, so I just can't wait, man. Can't wait for him to get in there and just, be himself, show everybody who he really is and that, he hadn't missed a beat. I love that.
I think he looks better now than
Right.
what he did before, he had the car accident and even in the lead up to the fight with Sean Porter. I mean, his muscles are bulging. When I watched him work out, he was cracking the bag. I mean, it sounded like a baseball bat hitting a pumpkin. Do you feel this is the best in shape that we've ever heard Errol Spence and seen him?
I think it's the best in shape, I think, but at the same time, I think that it's everything's under control. His weight is right there at his weight. I mean, like, when I say at his weight, I mean, like, literally at his weight. I mean, and he's right there, man. Everything is good. He's really focused. This one is like, this probably means the most to him. This is the most. And it's beautiful just to be back doing what he loved to do. So that's what we're here to do. Show the world.
Derrick, when I look at Errol Spence's eyes, there's something different about this fight compared to the others. And the reason why I say that is I feel like he has this level of focus, but I also feel like he's not overlooking Danny, but he wants to look through him. I feel like he wants to blow through Danny Garcia to make a definitive statement. Is that accurate to say?
I think that, that will be accurate to say, right? Because you're never looking past Danny Garcia, but I think that at the same time, for him, he knows what he has to do to make a statement, right? And getting in a war, which will be a war, because Danny's a true fighter and a warrior, you realize that, the statement that you want to make, the other guy has a little pushback. So he's prepared for that, but that's what you see in his eyes is the determination to be great again. And really, just to show everybody who he really is and that he hadn't missed a beat.
I mean, I would even say, because I watched him from years ago, from when he turned pro to when he became a contender, even when he was fighting guys like Chris Algieri, Leonard Bunda, and he was focused then, but not compared to now. It's a whole nother different type of focus. It's this championship focus that I feel like only the true elite fighters in the history of this sport have been able to have, and I feel like Errol has that.
I think he does too, man. I mean, he put it like this. He could have came out with an easy fight. He could have fought a soft opponent, right? And nobody would have complained about it. But I think he wanted to challenge himself. He wanted to push himself to see where, to see where he really was. And he took a great challenge in Danny Garcia. So that focus has to be there because he knows that Danny's going to have that same focus. It may be called the eye of the tiger, going back to Rocky.
Well, I was going to say, I almost feel like that's what we're watching right now out of Errol Spence.
Right, without a doubt.
And how about yourself? What are some things that you guys have been working on in camp? I mean, obviously not giving away any specifics, but what are some things that you've been, applying with Errol during the course of this training camp?
This is all about him, man, finding himself. I've worked, my focus is to see everything if he's reacting to punches right, he's reacting to the motions right. And I've always done that, so it's no different now than the other times, but I'm always watching to see how he's going to react. It's not so much about what he does in the ring, it's about the opponent and how he reacts to that as well. So my focus is how he reacts, what he does, how fast his counterpunches are, how fast this is, where is he at, where is he standing. And that's the key element, is to just kind of like show up and be the best version of yourself would be a more difficult task for Danny Garcia.
Now, do you believe in such a thing as ring rust? Because when Errol Spence steps into the ring against Danny Garcia on December 5, it will be over 14 months since he last had a prize fight against Sean Porter. Could that be an issue, or do you think that is just something that, people talk about in fodder?
I think that ring rust is real, but what happens is this, I believe, at the same time, is that ring rust, you can't get it off in 2 months or 3 months. That's generally what happens. Like you see a Floyd Mayweather, right? Floyd Mayweather is a phenomenal athlete at the same time, but he trains for like 6 months, 7, 8 months, right? So by the time you see him in the fight, it's like he hadn't missed a beat because he's been training for so long, and that's what happened. We've been training since March. So you count that March to now, like what, 7 months or so, something like that. So you, it's like you hadn't missed a beat. That's really kind of what it is that you put all the work in early, get all the rust off. So by the time you start sparring and working, you don't really see much of it.
Have there been any challenges that you have encountered? I mean, I know that you went through a training camp with Jermell Charlo prior to his fight with Rosario, dealing with these new restrictions of COVID-19, but have there been any challenges that you and Errol have experienced while getting the welterweight champion of the world ready?
No, man, we just did really initially from the first start in March. I mean, we just three of us in the gym, myself, Errol, and his friend Jordan, and we've been together just working every day, like 6 days. Sometimes you want to work 7 days. It just depends on how inspired he is. And we did a lot of those weeks for 7 days straight. And then getting to Jamel, I had to go back and forth. We kind of like broke it up a little bit. But once that fight was over, it was all Danny Garcia.
So once, you got done with the victory with Jermell Charlo over Jason Rosario, you guys were really able to kick it into high gear, and that's still about 8 weeks
Right.
of quality, and that's typical training camps.
About 10 weeks, I think.
So 10 weeks.
Yeah, 10 weeks. Not to mention how he had been already pushing it before. So probably a little bit longer because they moved the fight back 2 more weeks. So it would have been 10 to 12 weeks. I'm not even sure, something like that. Though, yeah.
So you were working with Errol, during even before training camp officially started.
Right, no doubt. Yeah.
So does that allow you to push him further and work on more things instead of, or is this something that Errol has done before, or is this something new that he's done in terms of coming into this good a shape?
Well, not to this extent, right? Because it's like to be working out, training deeply, because this one he's working through something, he's working through something. So that's the difference between him now and then. But once you get past everything you're working through, he's 100%. I mean, he's moving, his head movement, everything is there, man. Everything is there, and you'll see the power. You'll see everything that he brings. Like I saw an interview, and one thing Sean Porter said that they'll know when he gets hit. Danny Garcia will know when he gets hit, kind of what's going on. I think that's true. I mean, I think that he's a big puncher, so you got two big punches and two good boxers. So that means it's going to be a really great fight or a really boring fight, but I doubt that. It'll be boring. I think it'll be two guys going at it and trying to, because both of them want something, right? Danny wants those two belts, and Errol wants to prove that he is still the true number one welterweight in the world.
Derrick, I asked Errol this last week during his workout that I was there with you guys. Very fortunate to be there in Dallas. But you pointed out Danny Garcia's punching power. I asked Errol, is this the hardest puncher you will have faced? And he said, I don't know because I haven't been in the ring with him. Now, that's a fighter's perspective. What are you thinking from being his trainer?
I think that if you look at the guys, I think maybe supposedly Kell Brook was supposedly a big puncher. I'm not for sure. But I think that probably the biggest puncher of the guys he spars with, he prepared with. You know what I mean? Like Burley Brooks is a super middleweight who's like, when he was sparring with him, like 180 pounds. So it's like, that's really the biggest puncher he's been in the ring with. Not in the fight, but in the ring with, right? And so, but as a fight, it could be Danny, who knows? But we prepare him with the big punches. We prepare him for the guys who, make you can't just walk through. You have to be, and they push him as well. They hit him as well. They push him as well. That's really what you need to be able to step up to the next level. And I mean, if Danny's going to come, he's going to bring his A game. We're looking forward to that. And I think it'll be a beautiful fight, man.
Derrick, as we look at this fight and we break it down, there are a lot of different layers to this fight, and that's why I think it's so intriguing and entertaining. December 5 on PBC Fox Sports pay-per-view. But Danny Garcia has the edge when it comes to, I think, double the amount of fights against current or former world champions. So the experience factor lies with Danny. Will
Right.
that be a factor or play at all over the course of the fight?
I think that, going in, I think that from a mental aspect for himself, I think he'll have that edge for himself mentally. That doesn't mean it's reality because it's for himself. But I think that when you think at it, you look at it, I don't think so, because I think that, none of the guys who he fought have been on the level of a Floyd Mayweather that Errol's been in the ring with. So you can't, and listen, he has fought more champions than any active fighter. He has the best resume other than Manny Pacquiao, right, in boxing, and definitely in the welterweight division. Nobody even comes close to his resume. So, but I think at the same time, as a welterweight, none of those guys come close to Floyd Mayweather, or one Floyd Mayweather. And that's Errol worked with him really good, but it wasn't a fight; it was sparring. But we don't play boxing, so it's real. We go all out.
How important is it for Errol to start early and strong? Because the Achilles heel for Danny Garcia in his losses, narrow losses at the hands of Sean Porter and Keith Thurman, has been the fact that he has been a slow starter. For Errol, for him to be able to start stronger from the outset to gain and make sure Danny knows that he's still here.
Man, listen, he has to start and just be efficient and be thorough and constant, repetitive, over and over, whatever he's doing, whatever punch he's doing. He can't let. I think that what happens is you can't let Danny Garcia be Danny Garcia. You can't let him be the great guy that he is. You have to take him out of the situation and not let him be himself. Because if he beats himself, you never listen. You get a lot of things happen when Danny Garcia is able to be how great he really is. So you just got to be able to be focused and be continual over and over and over, hitting him with shots, not letting him think, not letting him kind of get his bearings or do whatever you need to do to just keep him off balance.
So essentially not letting Danny get into a rhythm.
Right, no doubt, without a doubt, yeah.
And with Danny being a counter puncher, he has that vicious left hook along with the right hand. What are some things? I mean, you don't have to, again, dive into specifics, but are there some things you've been working on?
Well, it's things you can do to negate counter punching. There's things you can do to deal with things, that ability to throw those counter shots. Several things you can do to not even let it even come into play. Then there's other things you can do. You can fall into that and let those things come into play, and you counter punch the counter punch. So, we just, we're looking at several things, and this is not to teach you what we're going to do, but there are things that kind of throw the counter punch off, and at the same time, sometimes you can just embrace it and just go in and go coast, be ready for whatever. Counter punch, counter punch.